that restarting your life and glowing up is humiliating. That you are never suffering when you are glowing up. You are only glowing. And let's be so for real, I am half the time crying my eyes out. For me, this looked like getting a divorce. This has been far from this trendy little TikTok glow up. The reward I get from my glow up effort is so low sometimes. Most days I feel like I want to give up. Most days I feel like I need to go to therapy.
Where did she go? She hiding in me, behind dreams I used to dream. Help me see the world the way I used to do. Life was just good. Life was just.
Hello guys, and welcome back to the 5th episode of Her Girlhood. Today we are going to dive into the myth of glowing up. This is a podcast where we tap into everything growing up in girlhood, all things femininity, all things niche, broad, and very, very just silly, if you will. All the things that it means to be a girl. And today I want to talk a lot about glowing up because this is kind of a trend and it is kind of something that I fear a lot of us are falling trap of it being sort of glamorized, of it being sort of this consistently beautiful process that you are never suffering when you are glowing up. You are only glowing. And let's be so for real, I am half the time crying my eyes out in my process of glowing up. And I want to talk about that with you guys today. I want to get very unfiltered about the reality of restarting your life, especially in a reality in which you really didn't have any choice other than to restart your life. So we're going to talk about that today. Nobody tells you that restarting your life and glowing up is humiliating. I think so many people assume that it is because you want to. And a lot of times your restart comes from the fact that something happened and something uprooted your whole nervous system, your whole world, everything that you once knew as your world. Whether this is a breakup, whether this is a new job, whether this is moving to a new city, whether this is a loss of some kind, whether this is a friendship loss or a revamp of your entire life or a new career or a business or this or that. The act of restarting for a woman is one of the most painful things in the entire world. And I want to talk about that today because I fear that it is really, really, really hitting me lately how much I am mournful of the fact that I have to do this. I'm glad I have the ability to create a life that I'm more fulfilled in. However, I am oftentimes a little angry, more often than I would like to admit, to be honest. Like, I wish I could sit here and say that I'm confident, I'm this, I'm that, I got it, I feel good, every single day is a win, every single moment of my existence I'm feeling like so proud of myself and so accomplished. And glowing up is far from being accomplished. Glowing up is the act of essentially taking your life and amping it up, aka you need to sit back and recalibrate every single facet of your life. At least that's how I view glowing up as. To me, it's an act of self-care, but necessary self-care. When you are in a position in your life where you are doing the same things and it's not working, or you're in a position where you look at your life and you know that you deserve better. You know that you want more from life. So you sit back, you look at your life. A lot of times you get your notebook and you sit down and you write up exactly what you want to change. For me, this looked like getting a divorce. This looked like getting a divorce at 26 years old and looking at my entire world that I had just built and being like, well, my progress is completely down the toilet. I am nearing on 27. I'm 27 now. I'm nearing on 27 years old. I'm getting close to 30, aka I'm getting old. I'm getting old. I'm an old lad. I am past my prime is like what my brain is telling me. And this is why I made this a girlhood episode, because the fear of being past your prime, the fear of not fully taking advantage of your prime, I think is strictly a female problem. Strictly a female problem. It is a strict feeling that only women, I feel, experience. I think a lot of men have a lot of other things that they work through that are sort of similar, but the feelings of let's be so for real, your biological clock. You are in your late 20s and you're nowhere near your career. You're nowhere near your home. You're nowhere near finding the love of your life. You are so far from everything that you want that you look at your biological clock as this terrifying thing. My death sentence is when I turn 35 because now I have a geriatric pregnancy. And this sucks. And this feeling that I've experienced in the last 7, 8, 9 months since the process began of getting a divorce and leaving my ex-husband and learning how to co-parent and learning how to move in with my family after being out of the house since I was 19 years old and relearning how to be dependent on people again and relearning how to just do life without someone that you knew since you were 16, 17 years old. This is painful. Painful for so many reasons. And I know that I'm not the only one. I know that this is a universal feeling amongst so many women. You end up in a situation where you were wronged, you aren't right, it's not the right fit, you outgrew each other, and now you're sitting back at your life and you're looking at it. And you know that the only way to get through this is to take your life and shake things up a lot and truly attempt to make everything as good as you can. I think a lot of us are grieving when we are becoming who we want to become. We are grieving who we once were and what no longer is working for us. We are grieving the amount of time we may be losing attempting to redo everything that we just did. That is how I feel. I feel so just wronged by life at times. I feel angry that I'm in a position where I am back at my family's house when I had a full ass house at 22 years old, working normal people jobs. The only reason it worked, guys, is because the interest rates were low and I did not have college debt. I want to be so clear. That is one of the reasons why I was able to save for a house. It was right before the economy got shot and we were all sort of doing our best at saving. And when we were saving, we somehow managed to buy a house. I had to sell that house along with the divorce. Like it was an uproot of my life. And I fear that this is going to be a way longer process than I wanted it to be. I have made so much progress with this whole restarting of my life situation. I am working out consistently. I am posting content consistently. I know what I want to do for my career. And the more I work, the more I can feel that it is coming. However, at the same time, it is so far. It is so far because of the amount of layers of stuff I have to do to fix my life. It is not just my career. It is not just this. I also have a daughter to think about. And so the risk taking that comes with doing a career that is not necessarily linear, there isn't necessarily a path. It is just sort of luck, consistency, belief, delusion, and that is what pushes you through. And my identity in this whole process has been completely shed. I had to mourn so many parts of myself in the process of glowing up. For instance, being a homeowner at a very young age, it was something I was really proud of, and it's something that I did not take advantage of. I was so proud of it to the point where there was even a point where I had a roommate to help us out so that we were able to house someone and they were able to have an affordable place to live, and we had a big enough house to make it work, and it was really, really nice. I felt proud to be able to share something that I felt so proud of with someone I cared about. There's so many parts of my identity that I've had to grieve in this process. Another thing is I had to grieve being a wife, as weird as that sounds, and reminding myself that I'm my own person. I had to grieve the fact that I am going to miss my daughter's life 50% of the time. For now, she is my childcare. I see her more often. There are some things that I probably won't talk about here just because it is private. However, once she goes to school, it's 50-50, and right now it's been 50-50 for some reasons that I won't share. And And it's painful. It is so painful because I feel like my motherhood was robbed from me. I feel that my motherhood journey is never going to be the same, and that there are times where it takes so much effort to get up every day to be the best mom I can be, especially in the thickest of the most painful parts of my life, where I have to look at my daughter with a smile and pretend like everything is okay when it is not. And the last thing I want to do is get up and be a mom. And I have to get up and be a mom. And not only do I have to get up and be a mom, but I need to find work. I need to find a new home. I need to get out of my parents' house. I want to find a partner one day. I want to make sure my child is well-rounded and she can handle all of these things. I'm grieving the loss of a life I had at the same time as the people that I used to know. I'm trying to tread this very carefully. I had to mourn losing family, people that I really, really cared about. And I can't expect for things to be the same after a divorce, right? Same thing with friendships. Many of my friendships are different from this. I've mourned so many avenues of my life. This has been far from this trendy little TikTok glow up. This is debilitatingly painful 99% of the time. I'll be generous. I'll say 70% of the time. It is hard work. The reward I get from my glow up effort is so low sometimes. I know that this is going to pay off and that glow up effort and ratio to like my actual joy, and not even like that, but just like really feeling like my work is going somewhere, my efforts are going somewhere. I know that I'm going to feel that at some point in my life. However, I'm angry. I'm upset. I'm sad. I'm sometimes the most joyous I've ever been in my life. I am sometimes so free that it is unbearable to think that I ever was in a marriage that wasn't working. I love my freedoms now. I love knowing that I can make any choice I want. And I don't make this podcast episode to have people fear this process. Nonetheless, that I want people to think that they aren't capable of this process, even with all the hard work that it takes. What I'm saying is that the girls that are glowing up are doing it with skinned knees. They're doing it with tears in their eyes. They're doing it with 50 people telling them that they shouldn't be doing X, Y, and Z. The amount of things I've deleted, the amount of things I haven't said, the amount of things I don't do, the things I don't say because I don't want to hurt people in the process, or that someone told me I shouldn't. However, for most of it, I've actually pushed through those feelings or those voices in my head or the people that told me, I don't know if that's a good idea. And it sucks. I'm in a really weird spot in my life because I feel like I've put a lot of this effort in, and I don't feel like I've grown up despite months and months and months and months of effort and work put into it. I really wish I could sit here and say that I feel it's been worth it. And some days I feel like it has been, and most days I feel like I'm exhausted. Most days I feel like I want to give up. Most days I feel like I need to go to therapy, which is like kind of the thing I've realized in this whole week, is that I really need therapy because I can feel in my body how exhausted I am from the amount of work that it's been taking to get even a little bit of a win. This is a really emo episode, I'm so sorry. Other things that I've lost in the process of glowing up is the loss of a lot of dreams. I really wanted to have a family with 2 parents in the house, to not have to miss 50% of my daughter's life, to not have to miss out on important things, feelings, to feel like I was present, to feel like I had a team player, to feel like I had someone who was there, who respected me, who loved me, who cherished me, who didn't cheat on me. I have mourned so much of my dreams. So many of them have been crushed. In the process of this, I'd be lying to say that this has been easy. And I think so many women feel like they have to hold everything together and be beautiful while going through hell. And be so stoic while going through like the weeds of the world. And I think for men, they can go through life and they can be rough around the edges. They can have feelings of anger and show them and be stern and strict and just very to the point. And if we do that, we are bitchy and we are looked at like we're not good to work with or easy or this or that. And women feel this desire to feel like they're easygoing and life is just fluid. And that is feminine energy is just like fluidness of life, but oftentimes women have to step into their unfortunate masculine energy and strap up and do the work all alone by themselves to the point of like mental and physical exhaustion. Losing my dream house is another thing that's happened in the process of glowing up. I am so sad that I do not get to have that home. I know that one day I will find my home that'll be just mine, that I've worked hard on my own time and my own work has gone into a home that is for myself and my daughter. However, I know how lucky I got. I know how lucky I got having a house that young. And I know the interest rates won't be the same. I know it won't be as easy as a single mom. I know that to do it means to do it on my own, and to do it on your own is kind of impossible in this economy. And I'm not going to sit here and shy away from that feeling. I'm going to look it in the eyes and hope that I can prove it wrong. However, I have doubts. I have doubts that I can make that happen every single day. I have doubts. And the doubts don't always run me like they are today. Today they're running me. Oftentimes the doubts kind of sit in the back of my head and almost push me to keep going, which is great. Love that. But most of the time my doubts in my head make me feel like I am just going on a hamster wheel and not getting any further. And with glowing up also comes the fact that you have to face your fear and your embarrassment like nobody's business. The fear and the embarrassment that I am at this age, and I am so far from all the things I used to be. And I don't necessarily want those things as much as I feel like I did in the past. Obviously, like, i.e. the relationship, and even like where I used to live, and just the world I was in and the way that I was doing things. Like, I don't necessarily miss that, but I feel so embarrassed. I hate that I am a 27-year-old divorced woman. I feel like that is something that a 40-year-old, 50-year-old can say. And it's not to say that it is not common or doesn't happen, because it does. A lot of girls get married and their prefrontal cortexes develop and they realize that they needed better. And that is kind of where I landed. It's not even that I necessarily needed better, it's that I deserved better, given the fact that the person I was with was no longer in love with me. Like, just point blank period, right? Like, that's not fun. Like, I don't want to live in a life like that. I don't think he does either. Like, that's not fair to him. It's embarrassing. Making this podcast is fun, but you know what? It's a little embarrassing. Making YouTube videos that get no views, and I've put hours of work, hours of love, hours of editing and filming and scripting and all the things for them to get under 500 views. Yeah, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to fail in front of people. It is embarrassing to go home and realize my home is with my family and my parents, and I don't have my own place, and I'm back here like a kid again. And as nice as it is, I hate it. I hate saying that. I hate saying I moved back in with my parents. I'm in my mid-20s and I'm had a whole entire life, and here I am back in with my parents. Like, it's so embarrassing. And I know I shouldn't be embarrassed, especially since the things that happened to me weren't in my control and I didn't cheat on me. You know what I mean? Like, these are not things that I should hold embarrassment for. However, not everyone knows the story. Not everyone knows what happened. Not everyone knows the ins and outs as to why. They just see, oh, she's 26, 27 years old and she's divorced. And what does that say about her? And to the other end of that, like, when it comes to dating, a lot of guys don't want to deal with that. Even though, again, if I could have avoided it, I would have. It's the quiet shame of feeling like you were past that. Feeling like you were through that. Looking around and you see that everyone is succeeding and doing what they're supposed to do for a living and with their partners and having babies, and I was them, and now I don't have that anymore. Now I'm a loser at my parents' house and jobless, with the decision of, do I do college, or is that really dumb financially? And then I'm here for another 4 years. What, I graduate from college at 31 years old? That sounds like not an idea that I want. However, I'm in a position where if I want to make good money, I need to make it happen. And I don't really quite know what that looks like for me in terms of if this doesn't work, if the videos I make don't work and I sit and I put hours and hours and hours and time and I'm still under 200 views. I don't want that. And at one point in my life, I was able to find that and work through that. And at one point in my life, I was a 16-year-old girl who had a little bit of a YouTube following. And it's like, I know it's something in me and I'm capable of it, but it's been a long time. And I'm here and I'm a little bit frustrated because I feel like a little bit like, I think like life played with me in some ways. Like it feels sometimes like life took everything that I worked so hard for and said, you know what? You don't get any of it, and none of your dreams, any of the things you're going to work for are ever going to happen. The most that you'll get is maybe fit, because it's the only thing you can really control. I know this is a very emo episode. However, this is just how I'm feeling, and I really don't want to sugarcoat what it means to restart your entire life. Losing validation and familiarity when your whole world as a woman was built off of you need to have stability and a man and a this and a that to feel safe is so hard. Biologically, I fear it's hard. Societally, I feel it's hard. And just so many layers makes it feel like you are just complete bottom of the barrel person. And I know that this episode is really emo. I know it is, but I needed to say it. I'm tired of pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and it's nowhere closer. I'm tired of breadcrumbed life giving me a tiny inch of joy and feeling of, oh, you got somewhere, you're figuring it out. And I know I'm gonna get comments talking about the joy in the journey. And I agree with that, especially in my motherhood. I do not want to miss out on the journey that is being a mom. I don't want to miss out on my favorite stages. Like right now, I like age 3 and 4. That's the stage that my daughter is in right now. She's 3 years old. She's going to be 4 in, August. And I don't want to miss out on that because I'm so focused on where I'm not. And that is not what I want to take from this entire podcast episode. I really want to really make sure that is not the full narrative. The full narrative is that being present is important, but that's coming from a place of slight privilege when you aren't in a place where you have been wronged, when you aren't in a place of vulnerability, when you are a grown adult and you need to look at your life and you need to fix everything in it. There's nothing glamorous about it. There's nothing cutesy about it. It's hard work. And when you aren't seeing any movement closer to it, it is so disappointing. And I wish I was one of those people that could look at life and be like, I'm not disappointed. It made room for better. And it's like, yes, I think it did. But when is it going to get better? Because damn, I don't feel like it is better right now. I feel like I am at the same place. Now, let's revert to the parts of glowing up that are good, the beneficial parts, because I don't want to just sit here and talk negatively about it. I do want to make sure that I'm somewhat positive in this episode because I do know that I want to make a positive impact, and by me complaining about where I am in life is not necessarily positive. However, it is raw, it is real, and it is my life, and I know it's so many other women's life, and you are not alone. You are not alone if you are sitting in your room and you found this podcast episode and you're like, oh my God, I feel the same way. I know about a few women who are in the same place as me or have been in the same place as me, and it is so scary. However, things that have happened that I feel like have been really good in my glow up is I decided there was not much I could control in terms of outcome. I couldn't get my videos to get more views despite hours of working on them and color grading and editing and learning about filmmaking. But what I can do is get my butt in the gym. And quite literally give myself a butt. Do you know what I mean? I feel like that has given me a sense of control, given me a sense of I can do this for myself that genuinely benefits me on the inside and out, and is also giving me some sense of reward. I can control this thing. I can go to the gym and I can put on more muscle and I can do the research, and I'm not relying on other external things to happen or variables like people seeing my videos or, the college accepting me if I end up taking on college, or a man liking me. I control my body, and that is a little toxic, and I do want to make an episode about body image and kind of the layers of it, but in the positive sense of like, I can control what I put in my body. I can control that I want cookies and it's okay, and I can control that I want to go and get muscle and I want to feel stronger and that I want to run a mile and I want to do it fast and I want to do it with proudness, Yeah, these are feelings that I like. It's a good feeling. It's empowering to take control over something, to have kind of some autonomy over some area in my life when so much of it is out of my control. Another thing that I've been doing is really nurturing my friendships, finding people that I can be unfiltered like this with, that will listen to me, that will honor my feelings and let me be emo, as I've said a lot of times in this podcast episode. So if you're going through this process of finding your new life and creating it and barely feeling like you're there, and it's all of this work, yet holy cow, where's the reward? Where is the joy? Where is I'm a little bit closer, because again, like in my case, like I'm not closer to where I want to be. I may have more strength internally. It's like I'm on a treadmill building all this muscle and going and going and going and going, and then all of a sudden I'm still in the same spot. I might have good muscles, but I haven't gotten anywhere physically. And yes, that muscle will help me when I go outside and go on an actual run. However, I still sat there for 40 minutes going nowhere, or if you will, days and days and days and weeks and years of going nowhere, right? And women, especially, I would say that the millennials are very much so in that realm of finding success. And even Gen Z, we see all of these women with these big, beautiful, full lives. And we only see all of these beautiful pieces of it and all these beautiful parts of glowing up. And we question why our journey is taking so long, why we aren't finding our people, our business, our this, our that. Where is our luck? And I've talked about this in my last episode where we kind of discussed jealousy, and we dig into where jealousy comes from and how I feel like it's coming from a place of a world that was run by men making us hate each other, right? And now we're here and we still have the residuals of, is there room for me? Like I've had a lot of that feeling of, is there room for me? My sister has a really great partner. Is the statistic of me finding a really great partner lower because she has a really great partner? That's not fair. That's not fair to me. That's not fair to her. That's not fair to anyone. I'm deserving of that. And you know what? If I never find a good partner, I hope I at least get to my career. Like I can't hide from these feelings, guys. As much as I try, they are there, and it's painful how much I want these things to happen. And my friend the other day, on a more positive note, instead of saying you're desperate for something, saying you're motivated and you're going to make it happen. You're motivated. I'm motivated for this. Instead of I'm desperate, I need this, I'm motivated. And I really liked it because it's really helping me like rewire my brain as much as I can to like, I'm going to make it happen because I want it to happen and I'm fully capable of making it happen. However, where is it? Like, I don't know, man. I'm going to keep going. I think for women, there's a huge element of social death. I think for men too, it's just at a different angle. The death of your ego needs to happen in order to grow into the woman that doesn't need her ego to rule her decisions, to rule what she wants out of life. I know that by playing the long game on the internet and making things that are slower paced, making things that are color graded and edited and filmed in S-Log and it takes days and days and days to edit, I know that that's the long game. And I'm really proud of all of the skills that I have built, the muscles I have grown, the things I have gotten from all of that work that feels at times that I'm not going anywhere. And I know I'm in this liminal space right now where it's like I'm so close yet so far and I don't have any idea when anything's going to happen, but I have to keep going. You're blind to any sort of validation for your future. Oh, it is so hard to look at your future and see nothing, to have no idea where your life is going to take you, and typically you could maybe envision things. I will say the thing that does keep me going, and I've said this in a few of my podcast episodes, but making sure that I am visualizing my life, getting in a little bit of Delulu, thinking about all the things that I really really want to have happen, the places I want to go, the people I want to see, the men I want to marry, the life I want to build, the place I want to take my daughter to. I visualize it, because if I can't live it, at least I can think it. And it feels pretty darn good to think things sometimes like that. There's a lot of power in that. There's a lot of energy in that. And it does help me put myself in that place of maybe I can do that. When you're sitting there and you're visualizing you in a place, you in a thing, oftentimes it happens. And I have manifested a lot of really cool things in my life, including my house that I talked about in this episode. And I know I'm capable of it. However, I'm tired. And I think a lot of women feel that feeling in their lives where they are restarting and they're back at square one, and they can feel all the little social media girlies on their social media pages doing all the things with their loving husbands, with their new homes and their kids and their pregnancy announcements. And I'm not going to lie to you, seeing pregnancy announcements is so depressing, because all I wanted to do was give my daughter a sibling. All I wanted was to have a little family with a few kids, and I can't rely on that to happen. I could maybe, go to the clinic one day and face pregnancy alone. However, it's not necessarily what I want. But you know what? In the path of working and growing and getting stronger mentally and physically and emotionally, maybe it's something that'll be way more fulfilling than anything I've ever been through. And the path that I had before would not even surmount to the amount of fulfillment that I would have with going through an adoption process or having, a donor situation, right? The power of the pivot, the power of the glow up, as hard as it is, the areas where I've felt like it has been worth it have been so worth it. The feeling of strength, the feeling of capability, the fact that I'm continuing to show up even though I know no one is showing up, even though I know that I'm kind of speaking to the trees sometimes, even though I know that I am not close to where I want to be. The muscles, the strength, the lessons, the learning, the journey in a lot of ways, like filming this podcast episode, I enjoy this process, even though I know that I'm not necessarily an Alex Cooper, I love doing these processes, and it is really exciting. And I do feel like the skills that I've learned from being kind of forced to continue to work on them because I'm not at the place I want to be, I'm sort of building those muscles. I've learned so much about the art of storytelling, about the art of editing, about the art of being present, about the art of being a complete beginner and being bad at something, and the excitingness of what happens if I try again, and how much better can I get. And that inner fulfillment is a really powerful feeling. And especially the YouTube video that I made, that it's on my other channel, I am so proud of that video, and I'm proud of the message, and I feel good about that. And I know I didn't post that for it to blow up. I posted that because I wanted to make that, and that's not something I would have done back in the day. These are things that I've grown and found from being in the process of glowing up, and at times not necessarily feeling like I'm getting much of anywhere. But I have. When I really look at my life, I look at the woman that I am, a woman who's sitting down on my bed at my parents' house in my own space, where I do feel very free, and I do feel very strong, and feel like I have grown a lot and learned a lot, and now I know exactly the red flags and the things to look out for to find peace of mind in my dating life or in my future. So if you're in the position like me where you have been sitting and working and doing your skincare and doing all of the things that it takes to glow up in the version of the person that you want to be, I urge you to look at it and remind yourself that you are just in the hallway. You haven't gotten to the destination yet. You haven't gotten to the place yet. And the hallway is not the fun place to be. The tunnel is not the fun place to be. It is the place, though, where you build the most strength and courage and the most resilience. And without the hallway, you don't even have a door. Without the tunnel, you don't have the end. You don't have the light. Without the journey, you are bored. To work to something is to be bad at something, is to learn from something, is to not get any reward from something. You watch so many movies where the characters are trying and doing and whatevering, and then they're not there yet. And then they have to redo things and try again, and then they figure it out, So I guess to end this isn't an ending. This is a redesigning. And to redesign takes work. And it is not pretty work. And I want you to feel validated in the fact that it is hard. Because I think so many girls on the internet forget to share that part of restarting. to share the part of starting a business where your sales are nothing and you're looking at your friend and you guys are like, do we keep going? Do we keep going? That in between stage is rough. And it is not always the glamorous, skincare routine, matcha, clean girl, acai bowl moment. A lot of times it is filled with tears. A lot of times it is filled with being at a place that you don't want to be in life to get to the place that you want to be. Anyways, guys, I would love to know your thoughts in the comments down below. Where you're at in life. Do you feel like you are in a glow up era? If there is a goal that you aren't accomplishing yet, but you're working towards, I'd love to hear it, because I feel like a lot of people are in a place like this right now where they have goals that they're working towards and they're not necessarily where they want to be. And they're not necessarily in a place where they feel privileged yet. So if you have that feeling, I want you to share it in the comments below, and I will see you guys very, very soon.